everyone. Hope you all are having a great day. We absolutely are. We're getting work done around the house today, and it's going to be a great day. I hope you all are going to enjoy this episode that we filmed just a couple days ago. And before we get into that, I wanted to let you all know of something special that we're doing over on MIgardener.com. As many of you know that are watching today, November 28th, it's Cyber Monday, and we really wanted to do something special. We don't run sales all that often because we really feel that our sales would diminish kind of the quality that's being perceived, and so we don't run sales that often because the price is already so fair as it is. And so we really didn't want to run too many, but we are running one for Cyber Monday. It is free shipping on all orders over $20, and you get 10% off. All you need is the coupon code SAVEBIG. One word, SAVEBIG, and you will get you get free shipping on any order over $20 and 10% off that order. So it's a great way to say thank you for your support and also to get you the seeds that you need for the 2017 gardening season. So hopefully you'll check it out. Even if you don't go buy something, we've done a ton of work on the website, and I hope you all will let us know what you think about it in the comments box below, because we've worked so diligently on it, and Cindy and I have been slaving away to make sure that it is the most awesome website possible, and it's just great. It's easier to navigate, easier to create an account. We have a rewards program now, which is awesome. So for every $1 that you spend, you get 5 rewards points, and once you get 100 rewards points, that's $1 off your next order. So it's just another way of saying thank you for returning customers that want to support the show, support the store, and keep us doing what we love doing, which is bringing great content to you. All right, on to the next episode, and we'll catch you later. See ya. Bye.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode here on the MIgardener channel. Hopefully you all are going to love this one. I absolutely am. Even though it's cold, I am so excited to get out here. I always am. It's just how I work. I function so much better when I'm outside in the garden, and it doesn't matter how cold it is. If I'm out here, I'm just having a great day, and I hope you all can pick up on that. It's so hard to explain, but anyone that sees me in person, they're like, wow, Luke, you are the same way in the garden as you are in public. And that's just, I'm just so excited to talk about gardening, to work with the garden, to inspire others to garden, and just to make your life easier, because I think information is so hard to get. It's so hard to get, you know. There's so many people that want to sell it. There's so many people that want to keep it a secret, and I have no clue why. It's like, why don't you share that information with people? And that's what we're all about here. So hopefully you all are going to love this episode. We're going to be talking about the importance of covering soil. Now, this was brought up heavily in some of our soil episodes where people said, well, what about mulch? What about mulch? Why don't you try the back to Eden method? And that kind of all pertains to mulch. And that's why I wanted to make this episode specifically, because I think it is highly, highly important to show you kind of what we do based on the materials that we have on hand, because mulching is important. And I will start off by saying that it's extremely important. If you're not mulching your soil in some way, shape, or form with any one of these methods, you're doing your soil a disservice. And now you might be wondering, well, Luke, how am I doing my soil a disservice? Well, your soil is not just sand, silt, and clay. A lot of times people look at soil as kind of just a black and white, kind of a blah type of thing. But soil itself it's a living, breathing organism. It is thriving with flora and fauna. It's just bursting at the seams with microbes and fungi. And as we talked about in the episode about what makes great living and healthy soil, we talked about how one of the components in that is to have the clay and the good drainage and all that kind of stuff. That's important. But the most important component of them all, I would say, is probably the bacteria and fungi, because without them, some studies say that up to 70% of the nitrogen in your soil is actually given to the plants through beneficial bacteria and fungi. So without the flora and the fauna there in the soil, you're not going to have a successful garden. And so this is going to tie into mulch in a second, but it's so vital to remember that soil is not just soil. You know, I hear people say, I don't hear necessarily people say it's just soil, but I see them treating it like it's just, disposable, if you will. And it's not disposable. At least my soil is not disposable. Your soil might be, and that might be why you're not having stellar results. But I take care of my soil because I understand the importance of having a living body of soil, not just sand, silt, and clay, but organic matter and fungus and microbes and worms, and all of those things are so important. So how does that tie into mulching? Well, during the winter time, as in right now, as in winter precipitation, it's freezing cold, and how that relates to your soil is the fact that your soil, if it is alive and it's a living, breathing thing, you need some type of insulation. The microbes and bacteria will die in extreme weather. It will. There's no doubt about it. You have to have some type of insulative barrier on your soil. This also applies for the summertime as well. It's very applicable to now because it's freezing cold and snowing and wintry. but I will be making a video, a follow-up video in the summer about the importance of mulch as well. So you'll be seeing another video just in the summertime on this very topic. But it works just the very same. It insulates the soil from the hot sun that can bake the soil and kill the microbes and fungi. So having mulch on your soil is extremely important. But I don't think people quite understand what mulch is. Oftentimes, beginning gardeners and even a couple of my friends that have been gardening for almost their entire life, they still refer to mulch as like ground up wood chips. And yes, that is mulch, but it's not the only type of mulch that's existing. You can have what's called living mulch. And a lot of people go, what living mulch? Well, do you remember back here where we planted that clover? It's a cover crop. Cover crop is a living mulch. It's a crop that it will grow up and you don't harvest from it, you just grow it, and then what happens is that the snow will land down, it will mat down that living mulch, and it will create an air pocket. That's all mulch is intended for. It's to protect the soil quality, and it's to create an air gap, and air is one of the best insulators out there. And so the more air gaps you can create, the better of an insulated barrier that is, and that means the warmer the soil is. Now, the top 1, 2, maybe even 6, 7 inches down will still probably freeze. But what you want to do is you want to protect the rhizosphere as much as possible. Now you might be saying, what is the rhizosphere? Well, the rhizosphere is where all of the beneficial bacteria and fungi thrive. You cannot protect all of the, you can't protect all of the soil from freezing. At least here in Michigan, it's impossible. You'd have to have a mulch layer like 2 feet thick. But you can protect most of the rhizosphere just by mulching about 1 inch or 2 thick. So behind me was supposed to be a living mulch. However, we planted it just a little bit too late. It will sprout in the spring, no problem, but I don't have any hopes of it growing right now. There's no way it's going to grow. I saw more warm weather in the forecast and it was starting to sprout. It just didn't grow as fast as I was hoping. So the clover was supposed to be our living crop, but because we are here and the soil is still bare, we need basically a type of mulch to protect the soil. So I'm going to go through a few of them. One of them, obviously, like I said, is a living mulch. Another one, obviously, like I already mentioned, is the wood chips and stuff. But another great one that a lot of people have is just leaves. People don't understand that leaves is a super good mulch. Now again, anything that creates an air pocket can be considered mulch. It just covers the soil, insulates the soil, and that's what a mulch is. It's so important. So I'm going to be covering this here. I just wanted to get that information out to you all because I do not want to see you neglecting your soil. If I see you neglecting your soil, I'm going to come there, I'm going to scold you because you can't be neglecting your soil if you want a successful garden. If you want to grow bigger, go home, you have to be taking care of your soil. That means reapplying compost, and that means mulching in the winter time to protect the soil. That means remineralizing in the growing season to keep the plants going. It's constant work. It's constant work, and you can't neglect it. So another one that I did just think about that we have used in the past with very good success is actually semi-unfinished compost. And I do believe that's what I'm going to use today, because we don't have a whole lot of leaves. Most of the leaves have already been cleaned up and are mulched up and in the compost pile. But I basically am just going to be using what I have on hand, because on that theory of just covering the soil and adding air pockets for insulation, you can add anything that does that. You can use straw. Straw is a great example as well. You can use straw. So there's so many examples of it. Unfinished compost, again, it's just going to add that extra layer where the 1 to 2 inches of unfinished compost might die, or most of it might die from the extreme cold weather here, but it is loaded with air pockets, and that's going to protect that soil. So let's go back to the compost pile, grab what we can find. I'm going to cover this up here. The other ones actually have plants on them, which is a living cover, or a living mulch. So we have strawberries here, and that's just a super good living mulch. They just know what they're doing. You also have plants, just on a side note, you also have plants like carrots. Carrots, they are a living mulch. If you don't pull them out before wintertime, they create their tops that will shade the soil, and it will kind of just be a nice little clump of carrot tops. And when the snow piles on top of it, that will all be very well insulated there. Same thing with asparagus. Most of your perennials, actually, to be honest, most of your perennials have kind of a built-in living mulch aspect to them. So pretty cool stuff. All right, let's cover the soil. All right, so I just got some. This is just partially broken down grass clippings and leaves from our compost pile here, and so I'm going to use this as our mulch. But you can see, it's clumpy, and that clumpiness is what's going to create all those air gaps and air pockets. It's going to insulate the soil, and that's what we need to protect the soil through the cold, harsh winter. Now, with certain mulches, like hay and grass clippings, if you mulch thick enough, say 3 or 4 inches, most of your soil will be fine. I'd say maybe about an inch or two might be at risk of freezing hard and killing off some of the life there. But most of your soil will be fine. So I like to make a practice of doing at least 2 inches, depending on how much I have. And also, as an added bonus, your mulch will break down if you choose some type of organic matter. I know sometimes people take leaves, other times people take grass clippings, other times some people take finished compost. It will break down if you choose something like that, and it will feed your soil actually through the winter. Stuff will still break down. A common misconception is that the soil is not active during the wintertime. It's not highly active, but it's still active. And so if your soil does not have a super heavy freeze, it will still be alive and needing food. So your mulch layer will continue to break down. So there you go. There is how to mulch your soil and why you should mulch your soil. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Hopefully you all are staying warm. And as always, remember to grow big or go home. We'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.